These are the tales and ramblings of two men, their dream of running a successful food truck business and life. We invite you along to join Josh and Skippy on this journey. This is Monday Morning Food Truck.
Good morning, Skippy.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody else. Thank you for being patient and waiting an extra week for this here episode. Things just didn't work out last week with everything.
My fault. My fault. My fault.
It was?
My fault.
Okay, I don't remember what exactly we had going on, but I know it was a cluster.
2.5 hours to rewire a taillight.
Oh, yeah, that's
yes.
right. That's right. I'm sorry, I'm trying to adjust all my things here so that I can both hear you and because you're kind of quiet on your truck, so I'm trying to adjust the right volume here so I can hear you better. But
I can definitely speak in my outside voice inside.
You're able to do that?
I could try. There's nobody else in here with me, so.
Oh, you're making the drive alone? I guess it makes sense.
I have 13 hours and 21 minutes to go.
Your wife didn't want to drive back with you?
Hell no, she took a flight.
Smart lady.
Yeah.
So
she did miss a Buc-ee's though.
So do you want to get rolling? What's it been like the last couple weeks? So let's start. Well, pretty much all of November is what we need to cover so far. So, did you do service at all in November?
Yeah, so I did like a day or two. I had to buy my wife new tires. I figured, well, it's a nice day. Might as well go out and see if I can scrounge up some difference. But other than that, not just a day. Nothing
Gotcha.
big.
So really, the first big thing you did, work related, was drive to Tennessee.
Yep, definitely drove to Tennessee. I have actually a newfound respect for all the construction they're doing on Michigan roads right about now. In just leaving, and I'm going to kind of go backwards on this, but just leaving Texas, we'll cover that in a minute. Texas roads are horrible. I mean, they don't need to plow, but they're just absolutely like up, down, left, right, and sideways. And the construction they do, they don't take respect for anybody that's driving a trailer on the road. Anyway, so yeah, I got through Tennessee, stayed the night. Monday morning, I went to the trailer facility to pick up the new PB&J's Battle Wagon. Got there at 8:30. Went through it a little bit with them, and I liked the fit and finish. Everything. I mean, we worked in it this weekend, but everything is pretty much the way I wanted it. There's some glaring differences that maybe I didn't think of, but I think I understand why they're there. So made the and then hook up the trailer, go to pull out, and my truck was telling me that a taillight wasn't working. And I told the guy, I said, "Hey, taillight's not working." And I get the, huh? So they go back and they definitely say, "Oh, taillight's not working." So I stopped moving, and they're like, "Well, how do we, if it's your truck, we're not going to work on your truck." I said, "Completely understand that. How about we figure out if it's the taillight first?" It's like, okay. So I shut off and I just unhooked the 7-pin connector from my truck. And I asked one of the helpers, I said, "Hey, you got a 7-pin?" He's like, "Yeah, I got the brand new 2500 Chevy out there." I'm like, "All right, why do me a favor? Why don't you back up to here and we'll just plug it into yours and see if the taillight works. So, okay. So backs up, plugs it in. Guess what? Taillight doesn't work. I'm happy it's not my truck. So the owner / manager of the facility comes out, must have not liked our diagnosis, decided to hook up his own truck to make sure it didn't work, and ended up blowing his fuse because there was a ground short of some sort. So then he's telling me to check my fuses. I'm like, oh, jeez. So me and my short ass trying to climb underneath my underneath my hood to check my fuses. Luckily, everything's fine.
Can I stop
But
you
yeah,
for a second, Skippy, real quick?
Sure.
If anybody is getting Skippy's voice in double, will you please let me know? Thank you. Continue.
It's double. Was it double the pleasure, double the fun, double Skippy's? All right. Anyway, so they literally took they rewired it from the 7-pin connector all the way back to the taillight. Took 2.5 hours. So I wanted to be on the road by 10. Wasn't on the road till 11:30. Made the trek to Texas, and trailer pulled great. With my diesel, 10 miles a gallon for. We figured out the trailer's probably about almost 11,000 pounds empty. So now there's a little bit of water in there. But other than that, it worked well. It worked. They did use the battery power instead of plugging it in, so I had a very low battery when I picked it up. That made getting the jack up a little bit harder, but things they don't care about.
Well, you had a manual crank on there anyways, right?
Anyway, I do, yes. Just kind of wanted to get away from that because, I have an electric jack on my current trailer.
I tell you,
and I still use a manual jack.
Yeah, the manual crank on the electric jacks are way easier to go up than the actual crank jacks for whatever freaking reason. But yeah,
I had to look up my build sheet just to make sure that I got an electric jack. But anyway, so the trailer's beautiful. I got to add some shelves to it, but other than that, it's set up just how I wanted it. The fans inside. It's going to sound really bad, but they suck. They suck air. We used it. It's, how when you open up when you turn on your hood, and it's like as soon as you open up your vending window, it just sucks air right in.
Yep.
These do that. Probably, obviously, a little bit less, but I think each fan at 100% is like 950 CFMs. So I mean, it definitely sucked air, and they're all on remotes, trying to figure out how to work those. Of course, us men don't read directions on anything.
Nah, we just figure it out. How hard could it be?
Yeah, how hard? So, yeah, pulled in where we were going, or to the hotel. That was fun. Went over a couple curbs. Not used to a bigger trailer.
And
my wife just texted me, said she made it to the airport.
Oh,
that's good.
long drive.
Then what?
Why'd you go to Texas?
Oh boy. Well, can I tell you, in Dallas, I was hoping to see more barbecue restaurants. We were near two, and luckily, no. You know what? There's a ton of
Muffalado.
No, taco places. There's taco places everywhere. Like
I remember there being a lot of Muffalado there too. When I was there,
there were a lot of taco places. Like a lot of taco places.
It's like you're close to Mexico or something.
Hop, skip, a few jumps. Yeah, yep, definitely. So we went to Texas first to try Texas barbecue. We luckily tried Terry Black's barbecue in Dallas. Honestly, simply the best barbecue I've ever had. I don't know what they do or how they do it, but it's phenomenal. And it got me thinking, like, you and I think we have a great day when we sell or go through whatever, 2, 3, 4 briskets a day or whatever. these guys are going through 90 to 100 a day, and they say that's a slow day.
Yep.
That's incredible to me. They had five 1,000 gallon Moberg smokers offsets. Their trick is, other than they actually hold all the briskets for 12 hours or more. But he said the trick is they start slow and work their way up. They just keep working their temp up, and I thought it was kind of interesting. The brisket was amazing. It was cut right in front of you. They took it right out of the warmer, cut it right in front of you, and juices are just rolling out of it. The ribs were some kind of special. Sausage was okay. It wasn't the best I've ever had. The cream corn, phenomenal. And just the area we stayed in, the part of Dallas we stayed in, I guess is called like Deep Ellum. A lot of artists, there was, a 20-story apartment building that had murals on the side of it going all the way up. Just awesome. Then we made our way to the reason we came down there, which was the World Food Championships 2023. And I thought I was ready for it, and I was far from ready for it. Cooking wise, I was fine, but everything else, there's so much that goes into it. And I've got so much respect for everybody that does it in every single category. There were 12 categories. We watched a lot of the turn-ins after we were done. The emotions that I felt throughout the whole weekend were unexplainable, let's put it that way. First day was turn-ins on Friday. We did chicken ribs and brisket. Obviously, being a KCBS cook, we're used to what they call in World Foods barbecue in a box. And the reason, and we had to actually I posted on our Facebook page all our turn-ins. This is far, far from barbecue in a box. You have to get chefy and present beautiful dishes. The type of dishes that are turned in are, 5-star restaurant grade. The judges ate good. Judges ate real good. So day one of the 27 teams or so, top 20 moved on to day two. We finished 12th with our best was 5th in brisket, which I was really proud of. Day two was our wild card round, which wild card means anything goes. You cook anything you want. Josh, if you remember, I texted you, called you, and said, hey, what would you do if it was your signature dish? We had a plan when we went down there, and it's like talking to people, like, what do you want to plate? So it went from cooking brisket tacos, because we all love brisket tacos, to cooking, one of the sandwiches from our food truck, our PB&J. So we did that. We presented live, instead of just turning it in blind, presented it live to a panel of pitmasters, celebrities, whatever you call them. Famous Dave was on there. Mark Henry, who was a former WWE wrestler, current AEW star. Leanne Whippen from Pitmasters and a bunch of other shows. And then a celebrity chef, Denard, I can't remember his last name, and one of the famous Dave's executives. I put my plate down to kind of build it and make sure it was perfect, and I lost my shit.
Well, I started it. So was that just like a little bit of pepper spray underneath the eyes to really sell it?
So they had an MC there that was kind of walking you through it, and there was really no crowd. They were just walking you through it, and he kept saying my eyes were sweating, and damn, they were sweating. But I explained the dish, introduced my team. It's hard not to get emotional over it now, but I was overcome, and it was the feedback that I got from people was like, Famous Dave said we did instead of doing pulled pork, we did the money muscle. For people that don't know, It's the front part of a pork butt that you see all the striations of meat or of fat marbling. And in competition barbecue, if you can cook that, you win you win the money. So we elevated that instead of using pulled pork. We did that. Everybody said the money muscle was perfect. Leanne Whippen said like the raspberry bacon jam. She's like, I didn't, when you told me about it, I didn't think it would work, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Mark Henry thought my pork was brisket, but that's a different story. He's a big dude. Google him, folks. He's a great ambassador of food and barbecue. He said we also turned in a side of coleslaw as a kind of a refresher, and he said that the coleslaw like reminded him of like a backyard barbecue. So of that day, here 18, 19, 20 people turned in. We had, when we went to awards, we had to be perfect, and it wasn't perfect, but we were happy with what we turned in. They had the top 3 scores were all perfect 100s, and I scored like a 97.5 or something like that, which I was proud of, because it's basically in KCBS, it's like a 998 or something like that. They do scoring a little bit differently here, but so I was out. The 3 people in my row were all in the finals. In the finals, you had to cook something with Tyson chicken thighs. And watching these guys turn in, because now you got to turn in double just in case something happens to your main plate. They got a second plate. I don't know what I would have done that would have beat anybody that turned in. They were amazing. There were so many different flavors and presentations, and the people that turned in were awesome. My neighbor was Sterling Smith from Luton Booty Barbecue, who was last year's World Barbecue Champion. He finished second this time. But if I ever get the chance, I absolutely would go back. Now that I've been here, I think I'd be more prepared. The drive sucks, but the just like the American Royal for KCBS, they do call this the world's largest family reunion, and there's thousands of people here, and it's amazing. I also only saw a handful of food trucks here in Dallas, which is weird too. But anyway, I need a drink, not a beer.
Yes, I saw your presentation video, buddy. I was proud of you, and that was my advice to you when you texted me was, I mean, what means, if you have to sell it to the judges, I mean, what means something to you? Because you can't fake it. I mean, you can try, but it's not going to be believable. Trying to sell something you don't believe in to your core. So, yeah, good job. Clearly, you made the right choice with that sandwich, but I imagine it was probably just a little too salty with all the tears in it, which is probably why you didn't get through the last round.
Boy, I'm telling you, I watered that bread down. I'm telling you what. I'm proud that, so the rule was anything that you cooked or turned in had to be made on the smoker.
Mm-hmm.
And because the trigger
oh, hold on, you're cutting in and out a little bit.
And we just services over. I mean, so we cooked on 55-gallon drum smokers, Gateway drum smokers.
Okay.
And we actually toasted the buns on the smoker, which I thought was hard to do. I thought it would come out like stale, and they were perfect. So that was, like I said, it was amazing. So thank you for your advice, because it was well needed.
Yeah, I wish I could have helped more. Everything was kind of out of context. I wasn't sure. I'm not familiar with the layout and the format and, what you can and cannot cook. So it's, but I think you got, yeah. I think I was able to help you maybe a little bit. I'll take some credit for you not getting
That's
through.
Fine. You can be a somewhat of a member of the team.
It's the only time I get to compete.
Very proud of everybody. Very proud of everybody. It was an awesome time.
Good job. And shout out to anybody that knows Damon Holter. Defended his sandwich championship. A loose acquaintance. I remember when I met him for the first time at a Wisconsin barbecue competition, and he was hawking sauces. He was giving out free samples to everybody.
So I didn't get a chance to say hi, but he put out a video about a week ahead of time that kind of gave everybody an idea of what to expect when going down there. They're like, again, if you expect barbecue in a box, you need to get your head out of it. Now, if anybody looks at my brisket turn in, it does actually look like barbecue in a box, because I did do a bed of garnish with brisket slices on top, but I think I presented it well. But yeah, he's an awesome dude. There were a lot in the barbecue category. There were a lot of on-the-fly rule changes, which is very, very, very weird. So going into the second round, everybody drew out of a hat who was making it on what your 10-minute window was. The original rule was, if you didn't make your 10-minute window, or if you, let's say you turned in, you only had 2 minutes left and it's not enough time to sell it and or get questions answered, whatever, you could choose to go the back of the line. There was no penalty to go the back of the line. You just choose to go the back of the line. You could actually go back and remake your whole dish if you really wanted to. So if you were cooking something that, let's say, wasn't done enough, yeah, absolutely. So during the cooks meeting, one of the cooks spoke up and mentioned that, like, why is that? And they said, hold on a second. And they made a rule change. If you decide to go back to the line, it's now an automatic 1-point deduction. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. There was a team on day one that when they received their scores, they had a bunch of zeros. Well, the lowest score is a 1 for inedible. The person doing the scoring, and my teammate and I were thinking about what happened at the American Royal this year. If you're familiar with that, people that aren't familiar with the American Royal, largest barbecue contest in the country, they had major judging issues, major scoring issues, to where they had to basically crown a new grand champion, and it caused a lot of problems.
They Steve Harvey'd it.
Yeah, so judging was going, or not judging, but scoring, or final announcements were going on, whatever, and barbecue was just taking forever. And by like 8 o'clock, they finally announced who was going through, but the one team they got all pissed off, but they're like, I'm done. We're just going to go home. And they're from Chicago. And they finally called him at like 10 o'clock at night and said, hey, our screw up, we did something wrong. We retallied your scores, and even though your placing actually didn't change too much, because it's our screw up, we'll let you cook tomorrow if you want to. We'll give you a buy-in to tomorrow, the wild card round. Jeez. They came back for the cooks meeting and asked all of us if it was okay that they cook. We all said, absolutely, sit down, barbecue family, let's roll. They ended up not cooking and leaving, which makes no sense. I don't know. I don't know if they didn't want the free pass, if they wanted to earn it in. But just really weird.
Huh. All right.
Yeah. Day one and day two, a master judge came around and chose a team that they wanted to push through automatically the finals. The first guy was a Famous Dave's executive that pushed through the team. He never came through our section, but he pushed through the team that won the first Famous Dave's contest this year. I'm like, well, that's kind of bullshit. You didn't really say anything else to anybody else, whatever. Day two, Harry Sue came around. For people who don't know him, he's Barbecue Pitmasters fame, major YouTube star now. Slap Your Daddy Barbecue. He actually went to every team and did like a 2-minute video and basically just told them their story. He chose, he's an Asian feller, He chose an Asian lady. He chose an Asian lady out of the Philippines / representing Australia to move to the finals. Everybody that was in the finals, except for the one first judge's pick, were all in the bottom half of first day. Like bottom 15 of the 3 category tournament. I'm like, damn. But
crazy.
All weird, all cool. No matter what, I'm passing a pilot fuel station. Diesel's $4.29 and unleaded is $2.68. In case you want to know.
Noted. I'm on my way to fill up.
Yeah. You should. Yeah, so that was. I ate at a Whataburger. Wasn't impressed. Ate at a Raising Cane's. Fair, like a B-.
Yeah,
I forgot my combo.
I've had it in the Chicago area. It was okay.
The sauce is good.
Yeah.
I wasn't. They forgot my combo that I paid extra for, so my buddy could get a Post Malone cup for his friend. We did eat at 2 local hot chicken places, and they were both spectacular. One of them just does like chicken tenders, so it was like chicken tender sandwiches / just regular tenders. The other one was a hole in the wall that had like 5 seats, and they did hot chicken sandwiches too. Both of them were, spectacular, unbelievable.
Good.
And for you. No, like your turn.
Oh, I was like, oh, you have something for me?
Well, yes, you're talking to me today. Yay.
My co-host went all the way to Dallas, and all I got was more work.
Fuck, I went all the way to Dallas. All I got was a cup.
Should have cooked better.
Tell me about it.
Well, good. It sounds like you've had a good November so far. The first 13 days.
Yeah, I'm broke November. That's what it's called.
You know. I mean, you weren't expecting to go down and win money, right? You're hoping to, but
I mean, it would have been nice to get some gas money.
Yeah, I mean, just like any barbecue contest, you never go with the expectation of,
No. They only gave trophies out for finals. So even if you got, on the first day, if you got or third in one of the 3 categories, they give you like a mini, not even a mini check. I think it's just it's like $5, $3, and $200. But then you get big checks for the big one. Yeah. So of the 12 categories, I think 5 had repeat champions.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems high.
Damon Holter being one of them.
Yeah.
Shout out to Croy Valley Sauces.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel going pretty strong. Yeah, they're doing all kinds of stuff, and good for them. It sounds like
they're great people.
Yeah, so when I met him, I tried the sauces. I wasn't super impressed, to be honest.
Sorry.
Sorry for what?
Oh. I had to roll down my window for a second.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. Sure. Yeah, I wasn't super impressed. They were trying to get the line carried. I know he had given some to Mark and Rich, and we kind of were all on the same page where they were okay, but not great. But it sounds, from what I've heard, is that the improvement has been consistent to where they are now. Yeah, and they're just killing it in everything they're doing right now. So good for them. Way to stick through it and way to always strive for improvement. So yeah, he was a super nice guy.
His wife is a great. His wife's a great ambassador too. Lou Barbecue or Lou Holter. They work so good as a team.
Yes, they do.
She was in the firewoman category. I think she got 4th. They all had to cook over like a tribal fire, kind of open fire pit kind of thing.
Cool.
That was really cool. Huh. They had even a high school barbecue championship too.
Oh yeah.
I wish I would have known. They just showed up. We didn't even know Nobody even said they were going to be there. I wish I would have went over and talk to people and figure out how to get that up here or up where we live. But,
yeah, a bumpy road. Are you on the road?
I'm barely, I guess.
It looked like your head was about to hit the roof of your car, and that is saying something for your current stature.
Shortness, yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize, by the way, how tall my trailer was going to be. I can almost walk underneath my vending window shelf.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I said.
You're gonna need a something.
Step stool. I'm actually gonna I think I'm gonna put a step stool out there.
Yeah.
Now I need a step stool to get in the damn thing. My thighs are on fire. Even though it's gonna step inside the trailer.
Yeah.
It's still hard to get up in there.
Huh. All right.
Anyway, sorry.
I want to get back to your trailer in a little bit. Because you had mentioned some things that you thought were going to be there, or some things were different than what you expected or whatever. But anyways, let's get back to that in a second. I'll give you a break from chit-chatting so much. You can get back to looking at the birds.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I had a little bit.
There's a bird down there. There's a bird species down there that is a cross between a seagull and a crow. I don't know what it's called. It's got like a red breast, but they were plentiful and they were hungry, and we thought we were getting dive bombed. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, that is the red-breasted sea crow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, my November's been a little bit different than yours. We were cooking just about every day. Yeah, through the 9 days, we did 9 days roughly in November, 8 out of 9 or something like that. Yeah, we put together a couple good weeks. For the most part, decent sales. I mean, for our farewell tour, kind of, we yeah, pretty good showing. So many people asked if we were going to cook through the winter and do soups and paninis that I almost started asking where the F they were last winter.
I just rolled my eyes for the same reason. I
mean, if y'all would have shown up last winter, I'd be more likely to consider it this winter. But no, it was a good end of the year. For the most part, we had pretty good weather. But yeah, last Thursday was our final day down at Midwest, and then we had a catered dinner that night. And then Friday, yeah, I hooked up the trailer, or I guess didn't really hook it up because I never unhooked it. Let's rewind to Thursday. So Thursday morning's my trash morning. Normally I will pull my dumpsters back up before we leave, just so it's easier to back in at night or when we come back. I did not do that this time. I have backed in with the dumpsters roadside before and been able to get around them into my driveway without a problem. But that's been during the day when you can see. It gets dark at 6 o'clock now, and it's really dark at 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I was making the turn, and the handle on one of the dumpsters caught the edge of the canopy frame. So our awning. Now, you would have thought that the dumpster would have just tipped over.
Oh.
Not so much. The wheel caught, dug in. So that frame part that connects to the trailer, about halfway up, it snapped. So it broke all the way through.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is Thursday night. I have to drive the thing to Indiana Friday morning.
Oh.
So it was all still stable for the most part. Some bungees and some zip ties, and I rigged it up so it would stay on the trailer for the trip. Not sure if I'm gonna have to replace the whole thing. That'll be something to figure out when it comes back. it's not bent or anything. It just pulled it away, and then it just cracked that metal piece. So there's some spots for screws. So I think I can screw the top and bottom of it still, and it'd be fine. We'll see. We'll see when I get it back. But anyways, yeah. I got the trailer down to Indiana. And Jay Craig, we walked through some options on what he's hoping to be able to do versus what's likely going to happen. And that is cutting the end off of my smoker and pulling the chute out. Well, what he's hoping for is that it's not welded anywhere down the chute on the outside, that it's just welded at the top. And he's hoping he can just cut around it and then pull the whole thing out. That's best case scenario. I am fully prepared for worst case scenario. In which you have to cut
two trailers down from me was Randall Bowman.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you should have told me what you were doing. I would have asked him.
I mean, he just doesn't know. It's like he doesn't know how they're built, so he doesn't know what's inside of it and how easy it's going to be to get anything out. So, that's best case scenario. Worst case, he cuts the end panel off where the firebox is. Just cuts that end sheet off and then pulls it out and redoes everything. He's hoping he doesn't have to redo a heat transfer tube, which I thought about on the way back. I was like, I wonder if I even really need that heat transfer tube at all, because the smokestack's on the opposite side of the firebox. If it was just
the heat transfer tube, you're talking about what goes into the smoker from the tube,
or from it goes along the bottom of the smoker, like all of those gravity feeds,
little holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you need?
You would absolutely need it.
Why?
Absolutely. Because if you didn't, you'd have that right there would be your hot spot, like major hot spot.
Well, it already is. That bottom right corner is already the hot spot of the smoker.
Correct, but if right now it might be a 30-degree difference, it would probably be like a 120-degree difference. Because that's where live fire, like there's when your fan goes, fire goes through that all the way up until those little holes.
Right.
So you just, I mean, you know.
I know. I know.
You know.
Anyways, so yeah, we're thinking worst case it's going to be about $3,000. So I'm prepared for that. Left there and got stopped for gas and realized I had a flat tire. It was low. Put some air in it, got it up to about half pressure, and heard the as I'm in the middle of nowhere. So frantically looking for a tire place, and found Jose's Tire Reparo Emporiemo. And he was able to get me a patch real quick. Pulled out a steel slag, which I'm guessing I picked up in the yard at Jay's. But it looked like a worn down railroad tie, railroad spike.
You should text him and say, "Hey, this cost me 15% off the."
Well, I have it still. I'm taking it back. I'm going to give it back to him. I'm just hoping that none of the trailer tires also got punctured.
Well, guess we'll find out if it's smaller.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that. That was Friday, and then I'd been kind of just relaxing Saturday, Sunday as much as I can. We leave for Iceland. We're hitting the road here in about 2.5 hours, so we will be done with this podcast at 11 a.m. Everybody, I know you guys were hoping for a really, really long episode. I'm only going to give you another half an hour because I still have shit to get done. So,
leave it to a guy to be last minute.
I have been working on getting stuff around all weekend, getting Halloween decorations down, trying to get stuff ready for when we get back. And
did you finally pull up those garbage cans?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So
wow.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's been a good weekend. Hopefully, we're gonna feel a whole lot better once our plane's in the air. There is an imminent eruption in Iceland. Sometime in the next couple days, probably. They've already evacuated one town, and
that sounds like a delightful place to land.
The town that we're staying in is not in danger. The airport is not in danger.
Folks, look out your left side. Look out your windows on your left, and you'll see Mount Holy Shit erupting. This is the first time it's done it in 1,000 years, and we're going to go ahead and land right here. Please put your seat backs and tray tables in their upright positions, and watch out for the lava.
So it's not like a Vesuvius type eruption where it's a mountaintop exploding.
No, it's Mount Holy Shit.
It is more of a breach of the crust of the earth than it is out of a mountain. So, which is common there. So no spewing magma for the most part, thousands of feet, no giant ash cloud probably. But they will close the airport for 24 hours just to make sure where any smoke would go or that there is no debris in the air. So we'll feel a lot better once we're in the air, and then it can erupt 2 minutes after we land for us. So, but yeah, it needs to happen sometime while we're there or after we leave. Then, if it doesn't do it now, so
please do me a favor and email me all the passwords and links to your bank account and last will and testament.
No. I thought you were going to say for the podcast so you could keep the podcast going.
I'll just start a new one. I just got to find somebody that looks like you. I mean, look at the picture.
I mean, it's not hard, yeah. I mean, there was lots of us chubby, bearded guys out there.
Parker can probably fill in.
Yeah. But I tell you what, the podcast could be a whole lot more interesting next Monday if I'm still there and there's lava intruding into the hotel. This is our chance to go viral.
This would be great. This would be awesome.
Speaking of next Monday, we are not planning on doing a show next Monday, guys. Sorry. Because I do have to go pick up my trailer on Monday, and I can't do the podcast while I'm on the road, so.
Oh, he's going to have it done in a week?
I told him he had to.
Oh.
Which is why I emailed him 3 weeks ago to make sure that this was going to be a possibility before I drove down there. No, because I have to have a fire lit on Tuesday because we have the day before Thanksgiving event Wednesday morning. So, yeah, I don't have a choice. He has to have it done. So, which, he's not super thrilled about when he confirmed. But yeah, it is what it is. It'll be fine. He's got a great team down there, and I have no doubt that he can get it done. I told him worst case, because I have my smaller smoker back. I told him worst case, I'll come down and get the trailer without the smoker, and then come back and get the smoker later, if I had to. Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Or I can just have you drive over, and we can use your trailer for the day.
Possible. Small nominal fee.
No, yeah. 10%.
Well, hold on. You're not getting paid for this, are you?
Well, yeah, of course we're getting paid. We're not giving away fruit. I mean, the show's not paying us. I mean, it's customer pay.
Oh, people. Okay.
People pay, yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. Anyway, what else we got?
Oh, so, God, we have so much to talk about. I don't know that another hour and 15 is going to be enough. So, the day before I think you left for your trailer, maybe it was a couple days before you left, on one of the food truck pages, I saw that you were going all Skippy on yourself and trying to figure out if what you had planned for the next year was the right plan, and if you should consider this building that came available. And then I heard from a mutual friend of ours that you had asked him if you should do the building. I know she didn't ask me because you probably already knew what my answer was, but
yep.
Yep. So, have you decided not to go forward with this building?
At this moment in time, so after I talked to you, or after I talked to our mutual friend, I should say, I went and kind of peeked into the building, and I guess I was kind of hoping that something would still be there, but the former tenants, I mean, they cleared it out. I mean, you can see where the plumbing is coming out of the wall. They took the sinks and everything. So I know that if I did it, unless I got a super duper discount, it would cost me a good arm and a leg to get it up and running the way I needed it to. Not just to be open, but just to have it usable. And my wife is having surgery next month. I'm going to take over her business while she's down. It's just, now is not the right time. Maybe later, but not now. Maybe later.
So are you still on original plan of a permanent, semi-permanent location for trailer 1, and then you using trailer 2 as your roll around town trailer?
That is the somewhat permanent or somewhat plan right now. I second guess myself a lot, and sometimes it gets me in trouble, other times it's for good, and I'm not 100% sure yet. It sounds like a great idea on paper and even in my head, but then I'm just thinking about all the overall travel that I'll have to do for it, along with, making sure stuff gets cooked and people show up on time and stuff like that. So I don't ever want to burn a bridge where I'm set up, and relying on people always has been a issue for me. I'd rather just do it myself. But got two things. I got two ways to make money, so we'll figure it out. It's a hurry up and wait at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that clear as mud?
Yeah, and I know you haven't had the best luck with staff and hiring so far, and that always makes it a little bit harder. So, I hope you find some clarity.
It's hard for me to plan something over the wintertime that's not going to happen for another 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever. And to make sure that I have people that are willing to do it. But again, it's the hurry up and wait. Do I get people now and just put them in a waiting game until I'm ready to open, not knowing what their life could end up being in 3 months? Or do I just hit up everybody I know in February and say, hey, here's the plan. Are you still available? Are you still available? Are you still available?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to go is, early February. And maybe you don't open both trailers, in March. You have
Correct.
time. So, kind of ease into that semi-permanent location,
Yeah.
You get a couple people working with you in March. It's going to cost you more, and there's probably going to be a week or two that you don't make money overall as you train some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and see, for me, the other way is I have another revenue source. I have to figure out a way to use it. So
absolutely. And that's
especially a revenue source that trailer's already made money for you. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think if I were to obtain the building, I'd probably sell the trailer. But again, I don't. Right now, with what I have going on in the wintertime, I can't. As much as I want to think about it, like I want to turn my brain off of it so I can kind of concentrate on other stuff that's going on. Last thing my wife needs to hear when she's recovering is, "Hey, how about this building?" It's like, Bert, shut up. Can you give me some more propofol so I can go back to sleep? Yeah. That's my life. Anyway. Why can I not hear you laugh? I know you are. I cannot hear you laugh.
I'm not laughing super loud. Sorry. It's a silent chuckle. I got a little bit of a cold going. So yeah, we're all got a cold in this house right now, so yeah. We're bypassing the upper 50s and 60 that we'll have here all week long for 40 to 35 degrees. So
yeah, I was kind of really pissed that I wasn't home last week because it was so nice, where I could have been out selling. But I was down here.
Yeah, we've had a couple decent days. I mean, the last Wednesday was just awful, rain, and we had some thunderstorms, and not super great. It was super windy all week too, so not great trailer pulling weather. Yeah, there wasn't a day where I couldn't feel things moving around behind me, and it's never a good feeling. So, but yeah. All right. Should we dive into some questions?
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta be the question guy. I can't get to it.
I got it all. I was kind of prepared today. We'll start with an easy one. What's that?
I was gonna say, guys, you heard it first. Josh actually said he was prepared today.
More or less. We'll see how it goes. So first, a couple questions we didn't get to. I'll start with an easy one. In the summer, do you have any problems keeping your refrigerators on the trailer at temp?
No.
Thank you. Next question.
No, they're all right. Elaborate a smidge. They are meant. If you're putting a refrigerator in your truck, make sure it's actually meant for food trucking, because it'll hold up to the higher heat inside the food truck. Well, my prep fridge is actually right next to my.
Yeah, commercial refrigerators is what you need, because any commercial kitchen is going to be hotter than your. If you put a residential fridge in a food truck, you're going to have all kinds of problems.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
The only spot where I have issues with temps is in our sandwich prep table. If it's super busy, and I don't even think it raises that much. The food temp, the air temp will, but all the food's fine still. But we'll get a whole lot of condensation in there on a super busy day. Yeah. We've actually had condensation coming from underneath on that unit. I don't know if there's an overflow or a condensation drip on it. I should probably check that pan at some point. But we've had some water underneath our sandwich prep table before. But there's not really anything you can do about that other than just making sure you keep it closed. I thought about putting a piece of foam on that door, on the underside of the door, just to see if that helps keep any of the air in, because it's not a really thick piece of stainless, and it's not insulated, that door, those flip up doors. So I don't know. Seems like there could be a better way.
I think my new one is.
Yeah.
Because they have, and I think the one in my current trailer is, because there's enough room in there for a screw, and it has like a white backing. So I think there might be a very light amount of insulation there, but it's probably just like foam board or something like that.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to go back and look, but I thought mine was just like a single piece of stainless steel, but maybe not. Probably not. I'm probably misremembering.
Absolutely.
You gotta blame something.
Absolutely. Chris's fault.
I don't think we touched on this one before. If you book a few events that are non-guaranteed minimums and an event comes your way that will pay a minimum to you, Will you push or cancel the non-minimum event?
This is a bone of contention for a lot of people. There are a lot of trucks and people that will absolutely push every single event they have or cancel or back out for a guaranteed event. I do think that is the first way to lose business. However, it depends on the event. If it's something that you might have set up that might just be a roadside thing versus like you going to a distillery or a brewery on a certain day, that might be, I would say, okay, because again, it's a roadside thing versus a pop-up that you already had scheduled for years or months, days, whatever. But that would be the only way that I would personally do it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were done or not. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to tell because you're looking at the road, so it's hard to tell when you're thinking or you're done. Yeah, I'm the same way. If it's just like one of our roadside spots for lunches especially, because those are pretty fluid for us. Unless it's something where like Midwest Energy, where we're driving the hour and a half and they only get 5 dates for us for the whole year. Those we don't cancel. But like our gas station spot that we're at about once a week, if we get something that's a catered or a guaranteed, we'll push that. As long as it's within a decent amount of time frame. Once we post our schedule on Monday, we're not making changes to it. Unless we have mechanical failures or something like that else. And then when we set up like our distillery and stuff, we let them know we're going to book it. But if we have something else come up, we're probably going to take it and we're going to give you 2 weeks notice. So we make sure that if we do it, we're going to give somebody ample time to rebook. And we, in a lot of cases, we'll even attempt to help them rebook that spot or fill that spot. Now there's instances where we have, like some of our smaller fairs and festival, any fair or festival is not going to be a guaranteed payday. So we like the small town stuff, like the Marcellus Bluegill Frolic. And they're not huge days for us. They're really good days for us, but they're not huge by any manner. If we get something else that pops up that's a guaranteed $2,000 day or something like that, I'm not going to cancel that festival, because when the next year rolls around, we're not going to get in. And then we are trying to get something that's trying to fill that spot. In a lot of cases for that kind of stuff, especially if it's catering, we can do both. So, yeah. So that's where we're at. Yeah, definitely. It definitely depends on the scenario. But we definitely try not to cancel. We definitely try not to cancel on people.
It's a guaranteed way to lose business. Word of mouth is, as a food truck operator, word of mouth is your biggest form of marketing, your advertising.
I mean, I've heard stories of people canceling catered jobs for bigger catered jobs.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah.
We've seen it in the food truck group that we're a part of, that they will come out and say, "Oh my goodness, I just had a caterer back out on me." Like, I guess I understand if there's you as a caterer, if there's something wrong with equipment, or you had a death in the family, or something personal that went on. But if it's just to get a different gig, I think you as an owner are flawed, and I think that puts all the rest of us, into that type of category just by default, and you have to work hard to stay out of that category. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's not even just food trucks. If I'm sure you are in the wedding groups too. It's everybody, DJs and photographers, and everybody being super flaky and canceling stuff within a week. And that's pretty shitty to do for a wedding.
It is.
It's shitty to do for anything. It's super shitty for a wedding. Yeah, that's. Ugh. So, I saw this post. Maybe it's more of a rant in one of the wedding groups that said vendors that don't respond back in 24 hours is a huge red flag. You didn't see Skippy's face probably, but that was a.
So hold on. That sentence is there's a lot. I hate to say there's a lot to unpack there, but are they talking about
such a short sentence?
Well, are they talking about initial contact? Are they talking about follow-ups? Are they talking about day before? Like what? I guess where is that going?
So let's assume that it's initial contact and initial conversation. So you're reaching out just looking for like quotes and stuff.
I mean, I've always in the mortgage business. I always worked on. I'm sorry, I'm not available. I'll return your call within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. I do think 24 hours is very important. I do think that you can miss it, or I hate to say something. Some people think 24 or 12 hours is 24 hours, and they just get impatient. But I will definitely. I think 24 hours is good for initial contact. I mean, okay. Personally, I think 24 hours is good for everything, but there are times.
Easier to do when you're in an office setting.
Yes. Very much.
Yeah. In our world, it is easy for something to get, like you get a message during lunch or whatever. You might see it, you might read it real quick, but you don't have time to respond, especially the time it takes to respond to somebody asking about quotes and stuff. You know, that's more of a longer process.
Yeah.
It's not a default response type of thing. And then by the time you get through service or whatever, especially if you're at a larger event that's a multi-day event, it could be a couple days before I am in the frame of mind where, okay, I'm going to go back through and check messages and respond to people. You know? I mean, I've told people before that I'll get back, like, and maybe I'll at least try to say, can't right now, let me get back to you in a day or two. You know, we're super busy with this. But even that I can't always do. It used to be Mondays was my day. Like I would go through and respond. What are you looking at?
Sorry. Just gazing.
Okay.
So the one thing that I would get to is the fact that a lot of people don't understand that that the owner of said food truck is also working said food truck, or catering business or whatever. And I don't think a lot of people understand that 98% of their time is working on, and not somebody that sits around and does social media and responds to emails all day.
Yep. So there was a lot of comments on this, both from other frustrated brides or event planners or whatever, and from some vendors. One of the other comments from a bride or event coordinator or whatever was the other thing they don't like was someone telling them to get back to them during business hours. And they were like, you own a business. There are no business hours. Like, which I get. And there aren't for me. Like, I will respond to somebody at any time of the day if I am able. And a lot of people get emails from me at 4 o'clock in the morning, or 10 o'clock at night.
So it's a pet peeve. So my wife is a business owner as well, and it's a pet peeve of hers for her clients to text her or call her after 8 o'clock at night. Just an absolute, like, it'll set her off. For me, I've always, again, I bring it back to the mortgage industry. You know, you always want to make sure you get that deal. The quicker you respond, the quicker you have a chance to get that deal. Yep. And there's so many people that are, I believe the people that are booking these things, yes, they want the best deal, but they also want to get it done fast. And right. if you can respond with a sense of urgency, I think you are better off at getting that deal versus not.
I agree, but why do we treat small business owners different than a regular company? Like if you were to reach out to a florist and you got a auto reply message saying we'll get back to you tomorrow at 8 a.m. or you called the business and you got the recorded message, our office hours are blah 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 da 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 da. You know. But if you get something like that from a small business owner, it's the worst thing in the world. We're not allowed to have any kind of balance.
I don't think the majority of the public has the same perception as you and I do, or as other people do, on what a small business is. They want it on their time, no matter what. It's their time. It's not our time. You know, and that's a delicate conversation to have with somebody. Because you'll get people that you'll call back the next day that are already pissed and barely took your call just because you didn't call them back when they called you.
I understand.
Or answered their phone call or something like that. It's
100%. I said, but if they were to call McDonald's at 1 o'clock in the morning if they're not open, they're not getting.
We should call McDonald's at 1 o'clock in the morning and figure out what's their voicemail.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not getting irate because no one answered the phone at Lowe's at 1 o'clock in the morning.
No.
You know what
True.
I'm saying?
I get it. Oh, absolutely. I'm in Pryor, Oklahoma, in case you want
to know. Yeah. Oklahoma where the wind blows. That's the only part I know. Thanks to Twister.
Yep, that's it. Okay.
Are you driving all the way through tonight?
I'm going to try. 10:25 is my time. Yep. If not, I finally have a trailer that's got 12-volt power and lights, so I can definitely sleep in there if I have to.
You don't sleep in your truck?
I mean, I could, but I got shit in my truck.
Well, you got a seat. You're sitting in a seat. There's no shit in that. Well,
I can't sit up.
Yeah, that's what I did when I pulled my trailer back. I pulled into a rest area next to all the semis and kicked my seat back and slept for like 2 hours and then back on the road.
Well, that's the thing is I can't put my seat back because I got shit in my back seat. My wife didn't check any bags. She made sure I brought all her shit home.
Oh, my goodness. I would have thrown those in the trailer.
Got to pack 17 outfits for one contest.
Well, she had to did she change her clothes in between every entry?
No, luckily not.
No. It wasn't like a concert or, Cher had to go back in between every song and change costumes.
No, definitely not. Thank goodness.
All
Thank
right.
goodness.
I'm going to come back to that one just because in case it's a little bit longer. In your experience, what's the first thing that will break down on a trailer? And you had a lot of things break on your trailer.
Let's go ahead and jinx the guy pulling a trailer back 1,000 miles today.
Well, I mean, on my trailer, the first thing that went was me. User error. But let's take that aside. We started having some screws rattle loose in the wall panels and stuff like that. sealant beads started to pop probably within the first calendar year. Yeah, there's a lot of vibrations happening when you're pulling trailers down the road and stuff. So that kind of stuff's going to happen pretty regularly. Outside of that, I was surprised at how fast my first set of tires went. Yeah, I think we replaced tires in 2020. So we got the trailer in July 2019. We replaced trailer tires before we started the season in 2020, I think. And I don't know if that was the quality of tires they had put on the trailer, weren't matched well for the load, or what. But yeah, we're probably once a year on tires right now. I don't know how often. I'm gonna probably keep track of miles next year on the trailer, just to see what kind of miles we're getting out of the tires. But outside of that, our porch light died on us this year. Yeah, it probably just got water in it and it shorted out or something like that. I just got to find a new one to replace it with. And our spotlights on the sides of our trailer, about half the LEDs on every one of them are out. But again, an easy fix. They sell them on Amazon. You can get them and just pop them off and rewire and replace them. So, luckily we haven't had anything major. Generator went out on us in 22. It died all the way in 22. And that was it was just undersized for what we were pulling inside. So it was running about 90% all the time. Other than that, yeah, it's everything's been good. Water pumps. We've gone through a couple water pumps, and I think that's, again, more user error or vibrations of the trailer where the handles for the spigots turn just a little bit, or they don't get turned off all the way. So there's times, I think, when that pump is kind of activated, but no water's coming out type of thing. But, I've replaced a couple of those now. Those are pretty easy to do. And then we had our water heater go on us. So,
did you replace
I'm not sure.
Your water faucet?
Yeah, that was a freezing issue. That was our fault. Yeah, we that was last spring. So yeah, we had a good stretch of weather. I had filled everything and we were cleaning, and then that was like 2 weeks before we opened, and never even thought about it. And we got a cold snap. So yeah, it froze. It popped that faucet all the way off. It broke all the way off. But then we had to replace the lines going all the way down, which is not fun to do. So,
especially when you have to crawl underneath and you only have about 2.5 foot to work with.
Well, we had to pull the sink all the way out to be able to get behind, because you can't get behind it. Yeah, it was awful. But
so on this trailer, I learned from you, because it's a flat nose. This is one of the first flat nose trailers I've ever had. I actually got a baggage door up front to be able to get to the sink area, the back of the sink area,
awesome,
along with everything else, which we already used because we had some water problems.
Yeah. Now I know on your first trailer you had springs. You had some spring issues and axle issues, right?
Yeah. So it was when we added the offset smoker, it definitely weighed it down to. Basically, I snapped everything on the suspension over a course of a year that I possibly could have. We had just the vibrations of it. Your trailer is meant to, I guess, flex, but the more stuff they put in this, the less it's going to flex, and it's going to be more rigid, but it needs that flex. So I'm not... as much as I paid for this, I'm not looking forward to certain things starting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, mainly just but they needed it. We did. Had to change out the electric jack. Tail light went out. No big equipment issues other than the free fridge I got from Josh.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate with equipment. Most of ours have been user error and hooking up to bad power. So, yeah, for the most part, our equipment's held up pretty good. Oh, I finally gave up on trying to find someone to take that stove from me. And I took that and the fryer to scrap. So 480 pounds. I got $44. But it's no longer taking up room, so good riddance. Yeah, about 10 cents a pound on scrap right now, so. Yeah.
Wow.
But 500 pounds out of my trailer, which is going to save me a whole lot of money on tires eventually, so. Especially since that was sitting right on the axle. Yeah, I know. But I tried selling it. No one wanted it, so it had to go. I had to make room for my snowblower.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Plus, if I can get down to one storage unit, that'd be great. $100 a month. But anywho, outside of POS cords, what other things do you carry with you as backups? Or do you have backup parts? Or did you have backup parts on your other trailer? Uh-oh. Skippy, you've frozen. If you can hear me, I can't see or hear you.
I have a spare tire.
I got it down.
Okay then.
You're back. Did you hear the question?
I have a spare Yes, I have a spare tire. It's about all the backup I got.
All right. So our back porch...
I have pans, maybe. That's about it.
So our back porch door wasn't an auto close. It didn't have an auto closure on it. It had the spring at the top, but you had to push that thing all the way open for it to spring enough to close. So we just got a couple of the little RV door springs and attach those to the wall and then to the door, and helps that close a little bit quicker. So we have extras of those because those have snapped over time. We also have a spare door lock and handles because we've had those handles that there's a little metal piece in there that just over time wears from it being open and closed so many times. We've had those break on us. So we kind of keep a spare one of those. We keep... I have a spare fireboard, but usually not on board. It's usually my storage unit, which is a little computer that runs our smoker, just in case. You never know. Things get wet. Things start going screwy. Shorts happen. That's pretty much it for spare stuff. There's not a whole lot like that kind of stuff that can go wrong outside of the POS and all the cables that we have for that. And we keep a tool bag on site in case we do have to make any changes. We did have the seal on one of our sinks go out, so I had to replace the whole. Yeah, it wouldn't hold water. Like it was just it was coming out the bottom on our sanitized sink. So I don't know if there's something in the sanitizer that wears out those seals over time.
Oh, you're talking about where the drain goes in?
Yeah. So the actual drain, the actual hole in the sink, that drain, the seal on that wore out. So I had to replace one of those. We did that in the last couple weeks. So unintended consequence of that, the only ones they had at Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever were actually deeper than the ones we have in there, which then threw off the pipe that goes from that. Yep. So I had to do some MacGyver maneuvering to be able to get that drain to go into the funnel for the wastewater properly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we carry tools on board for that kind of stuff. You never know what you're gonna have to do at any point in time. You know, weird stuff will wear out eventually. So we keep a bag. It doesn't have a ton of tools in it, but it's got, you know, some screwdrivers, some wrenches. You know, nothing major, enough to do some damage on the trailer. So if we have to. Other than that, yeah.
The first aid kit.
Yep, first aid kit's always good to have. Band-Aids are a plus. I made
Good
it all
quality
the way through the year, though, without any major cuts. Just 2 bad burns.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, those have both happened in the last month for me. I got 2 good ones. I don't recommend wearing Crocs and no socks when you're pulling pans of pork off the smoker.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that would be a lesson I would learn after a few times of doing that, but not so much. Nope. Over the past year, we might have touched on this one before, but I don't think we really dived into it. What are 3 things you can identify that you would like to change going forward?
Well, hi, cows.
Was it in a pasture or just standing on the side of the road? That cow.
Oh, it was in a pasture.
Oh, okay.
Pasture.
You're like, oh, hi, cow.
Pasture. Yes.
Pasture?
Pasture.
Yes.
I don't know. It's too early to tell. My season's not over yet, I guess. I don't know. It's like goes back to, you know, what do I do with the other trailer? What do I do going forward? Let's go granular. Business? How can I increase business? I can work more. On times where I only had one thing, I could do 2. I could plan, you know, the way you plan your week is if you got something going on in the evening, you find something close to that location.
Skippy, you muted yourself. Hold on. Better. Sorry, everyone. Not sure how that happened. Nope. Muted again. Sorry, everybody. I don't know if it's the vibrations in the truck that's hitting something on his phone. But it does not look to be a super smooth road at the moment. Still muted, buddy. Ah! Still muted. I don't know what's going on. Sorry for the silence, everybody. Well, Skippy tries to figure out what's going on. Shooby dooby doo. I guess while you're working on that. Also ponder thinking more granular on like menu. Like, is there things you want to take off or don't want to do anymore? Is there something else that you would like to add? Either on a special rotation or a more permanent. I know you talked about burgers before. Is that something you would want to add permanently eventually?
Oh, hey.
I can't hear you. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Hi. You hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, you sure?
Huh?
You sure?
I'm sure I can hear you.
Okay, good. Just the wife checking up on me.
Oh. She should be listening to the podcast.
She just spent a week with me, and I got, she's happy to be on a plane. Anyway, so like what I was just saying, what you do is you try to find the same places where I don't. If I only have one thing going on today or that day, I determine whether I can find somewhere close to that or not. You do have a lot more probably places that I can go to. As you said. Oh shit. Please hold.
Okay. I love you too.
Lost my map.
Oh, well, that's not.
I just lost. Yeah, there we go. We're still going
northeast.
Forward. I got a mile till I turn right.
Oh, I wouldn't want you to miss your turn.
Yeah, because then I got no idea. I'm definitely going north. If I end up in Alabama, that's really bad. Anyway, yeah, so that's probably one thing I'm going to start looking at. I did do an ad for catering over the wintertime. Didn't do that last year. Yeah, I'm going to stop at two things because I can't really think about a third thing.
All right. Anything menu wise?
Not really. Like I'm happy with the menu as much as I would love to change it and add. Like I've already told everybody I would totally be the Cheesecake Factory with a menu if I had my choice. But I don't.
Were you pretty consistent daily with specials?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yes, as much as I could be. Yes.
Yeah.
As much as I could be.
So yeah, we had tried that this year where we did the same special for a whole week. I didn't care for it.
Yeah, we talked.
Yeah. It was awful. Yeah, we just got into this. Yeah, we got into a situation where we were going to have locations that wouldn't see certain specials probably.
Yeah.
So it made it harder to get them all in, and then we kind of. I think we took a break from specials for a couple weeks.
I remember that.
Just trying to recoup and stuff. So, but yeah, we do them consistently enough that, I mean, people ask now. Or if we don't have the special board out there, that it's like, oh, no special today. So, yeah, I don't know that we'll do anything different. We might try to do some of the things we had before again. I don't know. I'm always trying to find something new. It's not super complicated. Definitely would like to try to go forward with a dessert on a more regular basis, or even permanent basis.
Yeah.
To have that option.
That seemed to work for it.
Yeah, we had.
That seemed to work.
Oddly enough, in our last month, we had multiple people ask why we aren't doing Faygo anymore.
Really?
We've been running Coke only since March, and like 3 times in the last month, we've had people say, "Why are you guys doing Faygo? You guys don't have Faygo anymore?" It's like, no.
No, I don't. As a matter of fact.
So I don't know. I kind of thought about maybe going back to Faygo. Not really a huge difference in. Oh, hold on a second. Be right back.
Oh.
bark inside to chew on. You stopped.
I do. I have to. We may have to cut this short because driving for 5 hours, I might have to use the facilities.
Take us with you.
And I have to. I have to get fuel. I have to get fuel anyway. I'm at like 55 miles. 55 miles.
I think we got through all those questions. Hold on, I think we got another one or two maybe, but give me a second. Desserts were good. I don't know that we have any major things like that, but there's always stuff, always manipulating and tweaking.
I swear we only did our normal dessert once, and it was at like a special like tasting event. But then I have a wedding reception that wants me to do their dessert for them. It's fine. It's just we take cornbread, put sliced strawberries, and whipped cream on top. So she loved it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for us, it's about doing them up ahead of time. Like, I don't want to assemble. We did the strawberry shortcakes, and those weren't too bad to assemble. But it'd be nice to be able to have something. Like, the apple pies were pretty easy. We were able to store those hot, and they stayed okay in the warming cabinet. The initial labor on them was not horrible, but I mean, yeah. But
we did
to do like a good pudding, homemade pudding type of thing or something like that.
We did Rice Krispie treats one time last year. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, like actually they were peanut butter and jelly Rice Krispie treats. So peanut butter Rice Krispie treats, and we put like a dab of strawberry jam on top. It was interesting.
We had a comment. I think this was from a couple weeks ago when we were talking about, of course, our mac and cheese, and me not going by weight on our sides and not knowing how much our small side weighed, and then not having an exact portion for our loaded mac and cheeses from Bubba. Roughly saying, how can you do food costs without knowing what your portion size is?
He does have a point.
We know what our portion size is. It's just not all by weight. Some of it's by volume. Like, I know how much What? I know how many loaded mac and cheeses I get out of a pan of mac and cheese. I know how much a pan of mac and cheese weighs. So I know how much it costs me to do a pan of mac and cheese. Okay?
But you have other things coming out of that pan of mac and cheese, not just that.
I understand, but when you're figuring food cost, you can get the serving of a loaded mac and cheese and...
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, it's going... What's the saying? It's going around something to hit your something else. I don't know. There's a saying there, but okay. I get you. I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
So not all my food is portioned by weight. Some of it's by volume and not by weight. So, but it is all on par. And just to make sure that I was at proper food cost levels, I went through and made sure I did it right again. So, yep, we are exactly at 4 times cost. So.
Well, good for you.
Suck it, Bubba.
Damn.
It may not make sense to everybody, but we get to the same answer. It's kind of like doing math problems, where I might not be doing it the way the teacher taught us, but I'm still getting to the right answer. I'm using my new math.
Yeah, but the teacher always marks you down for not doing it their way. Trust me.
I don't care about the teacher.
Teacher's not paying my bills.
Right.
But yeah, regardless, it is important to know what your portions are on everything. For us, it was an average with our loaded mac and cheeses. Not every loaded mac is going to be the exact same weight going out every single time. We have our lines. We have our line on our containers that we fill up to mac and cheese, which turns out to be 1 pound and 4 ounces of mac and cheese. If you're curious, Bubba. And then a 1/4 pound of meat, give or take. So our 4 ounce, our number 4 scoop is roughly a 1/4 pound. But that's by volume, 4 ounce, not by weight. So is how those are measured.
I love how you use the word roughly.
Roughly?
Mm-hmm. It's roughly a 1/4 pound.
Well, yeah. You're not measuring. A handful of
No.
you do your hands, but
I'm doing handfuls. I'm not measuring. I'll be the first to tell you I'm not measuring.
Yeah, depending on that day and that pork butt, a number 4 ladle of pork's going to weigh differently, depending on moisture content and everything else.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying roughly.
Mm-hmm.
When we do our meat by the pound, it's usually over.
I was just agreeing with you.
Okay.
I was just agreeing with you.
But I did weigh. So what? Part of that conversation was because you do yours by the pound, your sides by the pound, and I had mentioned. I think this is where the comment came from. Is I said I have no idea how much our small and large mac and cheeses weigh because we do them by volume.
No, I said they're about a pound.
Oh.
But I do it by the container, so 8 and 16.
Yeah, so it's an 8 ounce container, it's a 16 ounce container, but those are volumes, not weights, because the container doesn't know how much your stuff weighs. So I had weighed. No. So I thought, well, just for kicks and giggles, let me weigh it out, and it is at least our mac and cheese. An 8 ounce container is a half a pound, and a 16 ounce is a full pound.
Yeah.
And I did it over the course of a couple days.
It's weird the people that do it by the pint and quart and stuff like that. Like I've seen restaurants do it by the pint and quart.
Yeah, which is pretty much what we're doing, just with U.S.
Same thing.
Measurements.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely don't want to go out and weigh all my size. Like on a digital scale, it's just too much work. I thought about getting an analog scale for next year, just so we can do true 1/4 pound servings on our sandwiches. But
would you ever change from chopped to sliced?
No.
I mean, you got a table now. You have a heat lamp. You can put a heat lamp in there. And...
No.
I'm just asking. Dan, no angry.
I just answered. I think it presents better. It looks like a bigger sandwich, a thicker sandwich, because you can pile a little bit better without it just being slabs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta go to the bathroom, don't you?
Well, I'm at a Love's truck stop.
You looking at the lot
and
lizards?
there's a truck stop across the street called the Woodshed. And the Woodshed also has the Big Cabin. And the Woodshed's price on fuel is $2.94 regular, $3.89 diesel.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, probably because it was on the right side of the street, the Love's is $2.94 regular, and a whopping $4.38 diesel.
Love's is always more expensive. All the Flying J and Love's are always more expensive.
I know, but I'm here and they have an RV line, and yeah. But yes, I have to go to the bathroom.
All right, everybody. I guess we're not going to go super long today. You only get your extra 10 minutes on your extended version.
Well, hold on. We got to cover one more thing before you go and I go. I had mentioned that there was stuff with my trailer that I wasn't sure of. So, and maybe you can help me.
Okay.
When you bought your trailer, the first thing when you open that concession window, yours is up and down, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Your windows go up and down, so mine go side to side.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to spray the rails with anything, like the grooves that the windows and screens slide in to make sure they slide better?
I haven't.
So it's probably not is there anything I can do to make sure the screens fit better. When I close them in the middle, I can poke at the top of this top corner of the screen, and it can basically like almost fall out.
Really?
They either cut a screen too short, or with a side-by-side, you have one, the bottom side is fixed, so it doesn't move up and down. You have to, to take a window out or a screen out, you have to push up on the top and then pull out.
Mm-hmm.
So that top part, I'm wondering if it doesn't have enough spring, because when I move the windows side by side, they don't move very. I mean, the windows move, but the screens are really tough. So that's number one. Number two, they don't give you any directions with your radio system. They just kind of tell you to turn it on and hope for the best. Yeah. So we're trying to figure out what fade and balance, how to get just the outside work and not blow your ears on the inside ones. And we think that one of the speakers may not be in travel, may have come loosened up or something.
Yeah.
What was next? Oh, so we had water issues. So I go to fill up the water tank, and I noticed it's just spewing out on the ground. Well, they kept the valve open and didn't tell me where the valve was. So, but luckily I have that front door where I can, look and stuff. Mm-hmm. So the guy that was parked ahead of me happens to be a Freedom trailer dealer, so he kind of knows all about these things. We could not get the water to work. We got the water pump to work. That was fine, but just it would not pick up water. So I'm thinking, oh shit, maybe one of the PEX pipes has a water pressure issue, whatever. He played with it a little bit. He got the hand sink to work, which is on the far side of the water pump, but couldn't get anything else to work. Like an hour later, he came and opened up a valve and then closed it again, or maybe closed it and opened it up again, or whatever. Finally got the sink, the 3-bay sink to work, and I've got another one for bigger pans. That one's got a sprayer on it, so it's either a sprayer. You move the thing down, there's a sprayer, and if you move it back to up or whatever, it's that. That one still didn't work. After an hour, he came in and did the same thing, and it finally worked. So I finally had all the water after like 3 hours. What else? I found a missing screw, like it had fallen out. And so my trailer is 7'6" as far as inside height. Mm-hmm. So I need like a 4-foot step ladder to close the gull-wing doors that I have on the damn thing. I can barely jump up and grab the concession window door, but the gull wings, I needed a step ladder. So I need to figure out whether I just throw a strap up there, and just do it that way. But then the strap's going to be dangling. So I didn't really think about that. What else didn't I think about? I asked if there was going to be a shelf inside the base cabinets underneath the vending window. They said they thought so, but there's definitely no shelf underneath there. Oh, and then I got lights, like Fast and Furious lights underneath it. Mm-hmm. And they're on a switch, so I hit a switch. And it only lights up the wheel wells. And and it says on the wiring diagram, because I've got so many switches, they had to rewire it and to make sure they had to move it over. So now I got some plates covering the old ones. They're like, oh, you got to download an app to make all the lights work. I'm like, sure, that was in the directions I had to read. So yeah, make sure when you pick up a trailer, you don't try to rush to get to Texas. You just try to go over it with people and really make sure there's some seams that, not seams, but there's some sealant that could be touched up. Yeah. Nothing's out of work. Nothing, doesn't work yet now. I guess I still haven't fired up anything that's propane yet. Always remember that unless you order it, your cold prep table may not come with the inserts, the pans. You might have to get those separately. Sometimes a door lock, or not door lock, but like a door holder on the side of your trailer, like you'd see in an RV, to keep your door propped open if you have a screen door. Sometimes those aren't standard. Mine wasn't standard. Make sure all your keys work. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, when I picked up my trailer, it was a kind of a similar situation where it was, here's this, this, and this, 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 and this. It all looks good. It all works. Like, I had to ask them to turn the generator on to make sure everything powered, because they weren't going to do that for me. They're like, oh, well, we have to go find a propane tank. All right. It's like they weren't going to show me how to turn the generator on, which...
Yeah.
But yeah, everything else, like we didn't run water through anything. Everything was empty when I got it. So yeah, it was a lot of the same things. And underneath my sink, there's like 18 different valves.
Yeah.
To either drain water or have water go to different places, and it's it's kind of trial and error stuff through to try to get it to work. But
yeah, and then all three valves are on one line, and you're trying to figure out which does what to whom and how.
Right. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you got water pouring out of the bottom of your trailer. It's like, oh, that's not the right one.
Or water pouring in the middle of your trailer. That's not the right one.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish that process would have been a little bit... But I was in a hurry, too. Because I had it, like you, I was there for 2 hours longer than I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like, the whole process took longer, so I was in a hurry to get out of there. And they were in a hurry to get me out of there, it seemed like. But, yeah. It is what it is, and I think they make the assumption that everybody kind of knows more than what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
But all right, bud, I'll let you get to the bathroom. We'll let everybody else go. I gotta finish getting stuff around for here. So
enjoy Iceland. Do a Facebook Live.
Or to everybody, I'll talk to Skippy, see if we can maybe squeeze something in on Tuesday next week instead of Monday. But other than that, if we don't talk to you, have a good Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks, guys.
Woo.
Say goodbye, Skippy.
Bye, Skippy.
Recording stopped.